Airsoft can inherently be somewhat of a dangerous game between our airsoft guns that shoot pellets at each other at a high velocity, smoke grenades, fragmentation grenades, 40mm grenades, and other game enhancers that make the game more fun and interesting just beyond standard shooting at each other with rifles. There are a lot of things that, when used incorrectly, can cause harm to other players. And in today's video, I want to talk about balancing fun with safety in Airsoft. What's up, Airsofters? My name is Lane and welcome to the BB Warrior. We're here to help you have a better time both on and off the airsofting field. And if you enjoy videos like this, I'd love to have you join our community by hitting the subscribe button down below. And while you're at it, make sure to hit the bell icon next to it for updates when we post new videos every Tuesday and Friday here on the channel. Now, in our last video that we did on the channel, which was 5 dumb airsoft products, I talked about rubber knives and how I am not a big fan of them. And I asked you guys to have a discussion in the comments what you thought about rubber knives. And I learned 2 things from this. One, I'm in the minority. I'm not a big fan of rubber knives in Airsoft, and you guys apparently are. So I am in the minority in this, and I'm perfectly okay with that. If you want to use them, go right ahead. Who am I to tell you what to use in Airsoft, as long as you're being safe and courteous to other players? And the other thing that I learned, which was an invaluable lesson to myself as a content creator and getting better at what I do for you guys, is that I didn't really express my opinion on this subject the way I wanted to. The way that I made it sound is that I think that rubber knives should be gone from Airsoft because they can cause issues and start fights and things like that. Because I have seen some pretty bad things happen due to rubber knives in Airsoft. I've seen people be unsafe with them, and something that I mentioned that a lot of you guys didn't take the way I wanted you to, which was my fault because of the way that I worded it, is I made it sound like I was getting all butthurt because someone was like slashing me with a rubber knife or going poke like that. That wasn't what I was referring to. I was referring to an experience that I had where a player went up to another player and, like a full-on jab, knifed at him with pretty much the entire strength of their punch. And I made it sound like in the video, because of those sort of things, that they should just be banned and not allowed. And that was a mistake on my part. That is not what I think. And I wanted to express that in this video. I think that while some issues can arise from some of the game enhancers like knives or, again, grenades or 40mm grenades, the amount of times that those issues happen do not trump over the added experience that they provide to the game. And in turn, the issue is not the equipment itself, rather it is the people that are using it irresponsibly. So I don't think that we should be getting rid of things that can cause harm to people in Airsoft, because this is a somewhat contact sport. We are shooting at each other. And while certain things can happen, like some smoke grenades have lit fields on fire, or people have been hit with tag grenades, that's not a very common occurrence. And as cynical of a person as I am, I know people don't go on the airsofting field to hurt other people intentionally. Some people might. I mean, whatever gets your rocks off, but most people are going out in Airsoft to have a fun time and not going out there to purposely hurt people. And a lot of these situations where I've seen people accidentally hurting each other in Airsoft, people feel awful and they apologize because they are human beings and they have feelings just like the person that they accidentally hurt. So I personally believe that while we balance fun with safety, to have these game enhancers that can possibly be dangerous. Apparently I can't talk today. I think that the amount of incidents that occur because of them do not outweigh getting rid of them entirely. So going back to rubber knives, I personally don't like rubber knives. However, they add a lot of fun experience to Airsoft because you can like walk up behind someone and be all Sam Fisher and get a couple knife kills. And that's going to be like the coolest experience of your day. And if you have like a GoPro on, that just like made your entire life. And while I'm not a fan of them, again, if you are, go right ahead. I think part of the reason why I'm not a big fan of them is I do have a bias because I had someone swing at a Nerf sword with me and it broke my MP7 in half. So I have a little bit of disapproval towards swords and knives to begin with, and I've never really carried one very often, so it might just be the fact that I never used one. But I do understand that while I don't like them, they do lead to some interesting scenarios in Airsoft and help people have more fun, and that matters more to me than me not liking them. And if I don't like them, cool, I just won't carry one. But if you like one, go right ahead. Just don't be that guy who ruins it for everyone else. And I wish I got that point across, is that it's not the equipment, it's that one guy, and the expression "one bad apple ruins the bunch" is really the best way I can think to describe how I feel about this. Now, I think something that could go a long way is companies that make some of these products, especially the ones that have some sort of explosion or flash powder. I think it would be smart on their behalf to make some media that they either include with the product or they advertise on YouTube or Facebook to make sure that people are using their products correctly and talking to field staff and things like that to ensure field staff and insurance companies that their products are safe for players to use. I've talked to field owners who don't want to allow tag and Enola Gay because of horror stories that they've heard. And unfortunately, while these do happen occasionally, it's something that we just have to accept, is that there will be things that happen occasionally. It's not very often. Like, I've heard of people not allowing Enola Gay because they can start fires on fields when it's dry out. And that can happen. However, if you just tell players that, hey, make sure that you hold on to it until the smoke becomes the color, you're going to drastically reduce the likelihood of starting a fire. Or with tag, saying, hey, make sure you're not shooting directly at people, which most people aren't going to do that. I'm not saying that people that use tag rounds are trying to thump someone right in the chest every time, but it can happen. And sometimes it's just mistakes, and sometimes it's players not knowing what they're using and what it's capable of if it's used improperly. And I think that, again, just being open about safety and making sure that everyone's all right and everyone knows how to use what they have, as well as the field staff, referees, and salespeople at shops, making sure that people know what they're getting into with these products, I think that could go a long way. So just to recap, there are a lot of things that can really improve Airsoft, and I like to call them the game enhancers. However, without a source, whether it be other players, people like myself who make YouTube videos, or the company that is the manufacturer of the product, without them just giving you like a heads up how to use some of their products, like again, some of these explosive products, I think by giving a heads up and giving like a guide on how to use these safely, as well as field staff making sure that people know how to use them safely, I think that could go a very long way. And there are people that do that. There are people out there making sure that everyone's having fun and being safe on the airsofting field. And that's what I try to aim to do with you guys. But I just wanted to talk about this for today's video because we had a really, really interesting discussion down in the comments of last week's video. And I had to do a lot of explaining for myself because I personally didn't explain my view how I wanted to. And I hope I got what I was trying to say down to you guys correctly in this video. So now I want to ask you guys, where do you draw the line on some of these products? Do you think that there are some things that are allowed in Airsoft that shouldn't be for the greater good of people? Or are you more along the lines of myself where, yeah, you can use it, it's not the equipment's fault, just make sure that you're using it properly? Make sure to let me know down in the comments below, guys. I'd love to hear what you guys think, and it's really great feedback from me as a creator because that is something that I have to get down. If I don't say my opinions correctly, that's going to be bad. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you very much. I will see you all next time.